Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We're your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 4, Episode 21, The Return.
Yeah. So,
this is the first episode we've recorded, the first main feed episode that we've recorded since the election.
yeah.
So this message will come to you a little late.
Sorry.
But this is our statement on it, essentially.
This sucks.
This sucks.
That's our statement. We are very sad.
We have to laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah. We are very sad and very scared. But we did want to, keep things a little positive around here, as positive as we can. And just remind you guys that, there's still a lot going on your local government level. So, make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening in your state, in your city, and still be as involved politically on that level as we are when presidential elections happen, because I know there's something happening in Texas right now where they're trying to add certain things to the curriculum that don't need to be there, and that's not something that the people get to vote on. So, this is a time where I'm going to have to reach out to my representatives, even if I feel like they're not going to listen to me. It's important to make your voice heard and not to, give up when things get hard. So,
Yeah, and, in happier news, in Louisiana, a judge just temporarily blocked the Christian 10 Commandments. Specifically, it was the King James Version, so not even
the real one.
Spoken like true Catholic. Not even a true Catholic, true Catholic.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 10 Commandments were supposed to be displayed in every public school classroom, which is obviously against the Constitution. Yep. And a judge just ruled that it is, in fact, unconstitutional.
Hey.
So there is hope. Just keep paying attention to your local and state stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We'll get through this together. We just have to keep fighting, And now.
Yeah. Now we are going to talk about a world that is not ours.
Yeah. We'll escape for a little bit.
These people's problems are not mine.
Yeah. And that's what makes them good.
Yeah. So this episode was written by Marissa Tancherowen and Jed Whedon and directed by Kevin Tancherowen.
All right. The head honchos themselves.
So Mom and Dad and Uncle Kevin.
Well, cool. No new characters in this episode, although I did learn somebody's name right before they died, so.
Hey, no spoilers, but if you don't see a body...
I'll forget.
I know. Okay. So I have an initial fun fact.
Okay.
Since the characters escaped the framework, the title sequence of this episode features a normal Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. title, whereas the title was changed into Agents of Hydra in the previous episodes for the final pod of the 4th season.
Hey, we're back, baby.
Yeah.
Nice. So we pick up where we left off in the deep sea oil rig. May is yelling at Fitz to get out of the way, and Coulson is yelling for May to take the shot at Ada anyway. This is not very Coulson-like. That was crazy. Ada disappears with Fitz in a blink, and Coulson yells in frustration, "Can't we just get a fucking break?" Which is pretty much exactly what I said at the end of the last episode. So, like, we're...
At the last of the end episode.
At the last of the end episode. We are on the same page. Coulson and May are talking about how they're still, like, sorting through their 2 separate lives when Ivanov comes in and gives his villain speech about waiting until this very moment to kill them. And May's like, who the fuck is this guy? And Coulson's like, oh yeah, you missed, like, quite a bit. You can just shoot him, whatever. Coulson is very gun happy in this episode. I'm like, this is weird. He's over it. So May tries to shoot Ivanov, but it doesn't even faze him. So he points his gun directly in Coulson's face and says, "You're nothing without your shield to protect you." And then, this is, like, the most shocking thing. When Coulson, like, activates his laser shield on his arm and then cuts Ivanov's robot face off of his skull. That was, like, so graphic and unexpected. I think David literally, like, came home at that point and I was, like, frozen. That was crazy. But unfortunately, there are more Ivanov robots where that one came from.
So I had, like, a series of notes where I, like, did not remember at what point I wrote them. But I think it was during this point I was like, oh, I know Caroline is stressed as fuck.
I was stressed this whole episode. Honestly, this whole season has been a nightmare. So while Coulson and May barricade themselves in the room with Mac's unconscious form, Coulson catches May up as quickly as he can on what she missed while she was in the framework. The last she remembered, they were still trying to find Robbie's uncle. Holy fuck, that was, like, a lifetime ago.
I know. Poor May.
I know.
Like, I was watching this episode and I was like, oh my god, I forgot that she's been in there for so long.
Yeah. She missed so much. So Coulson tries to, like, answer some of the easier questions, but he does not have a good answer for how long it took him to realize that May was a decoy. Oops. And then he altogether avoids the subject of their short-lived robot romance. So, which, good. I didn't like that anyway. I hated every second of it. They decide that they need to take control of the space to protect Mac until they can wake him up without frying his brain. I didn't think that waking Mac up was still on the table, but Coulson is hopeful that help is on the way. Help is on the way, dear. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Hey, stop fighting! Okay. I'm a really good pet parent. Okay, so Daisy Simmons and the rest of the Zephyr team are, like, dodging hits from the Russian planes surrounding them, but they're not dodging them very well. Because Davis is like...
doing Davis is doing his best.
He's doing his absolute best. But he is not May. Also, there's a fucking fire somewhere on the plane. And they gotta plug something into something down the hall. It almost doesn't reach. And then Piper manages to blast the last enemy plane out of the sky just before they crash into each other head first. Okay.
So, a goof. The Su-27 jet is flying head-on towards the Zephyr when it is destroyed several hundred feet away. The debris from the exploding jet would be sucked into the engines of the Zephyr and cause them to fail, which would result in the plane losing power and crashing.
Oh my god. Are these even, like, real types of planes?
I think, the Su-27 is probably real, but the Zephyr, I'm pretty sure, is, like, a made-up design.
Yeah. So, how do we even know? Goof on your goof. Maybe they fixed that problem. I don't know.
This goof is like, goof, they didn't all die. So...
Plot hole! Plot hole, the plot kept going. So Ada and Fitz appear on a beach, and Ada is in awe at actually feeling real sensations and emotions for the first time. Meanwhile, Fitz feels nauseous. Ada tries to empathize, saying that it must be difficult trying to come to terms with two sets of memories. Fitz is, again, feeling disgust at himself for everything he did in the framework, and then he remembers that Ada was right there with him, manipulating him and encouraging every horrible decision that he made in her name. Ada, of course, blames everything on Radcliffe, saying that she was a slave to his desires and her programming. She says that Fitz did what he had to do to survive, and that his decisions were his own. She didn't push him. The only changes that she made were reuniting him with his father and then introducing herself. Fitz starts to recall the framework memory of meeting Ophelia on his first day at Academy instead of Simmons, which I hate. I'm very angry about.
Yeah, technically that's... I feel like that's 3 things that she changed.
Yeah. Yep.
Because in order to introduce herself, she had to take Simmons out of the equation. Like, somehow they didn't meet.
Yep. Fuck. Anyway, and Ada says that throughout all of it, she never truly felt anything until now. And now she feels love and joy and wonder because of him. Which, I mean, duh, have you met him? But before he can respond, she blinks them away somewhere else. Elena is furious with Daisy for not bringing Mac back. Daisy tries to explain without, like, giving away Mac's secrets, but when Yo-Yo keeps pushing, Daisy finally yells back that Mac wouldn't leave without hope. She is surprised to find out that Yo-Yo already knew about Mac's daughter, and Yo-Yo finally understands why Mac would refuse to come back, but she says that he didn't remember her, so she starts to head to the machine so she can go remind him who she is and get him out herself, but Daisy stops her and says that their best chance right now is to find May and Coulson and keep Mac's real body alive so that he has something to come back to. Coulson uses his history teacher knowledge to figure out that they might be in the Russian oil rig base, because he's a Cold War buff, apparently. And May looks through the supplies in the room. There's tons of, like, B12 so they won't get hungover, and some emergency doses of epinephrine.
I was wondering what the B12 was for, but he does drink a lot of vodka.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I guess he doesn't need it anymore because he's a robot.
Yeah. Well, I think, so I feel like, because it was in this room, I feel like it was more for, like, keeping the agents alive. So the B12 is, like, to like, electrolytes or something, I don't know. And, like, to keep you hydrated and stuff. And then, like, epinephrine would, I don't know, if they started having some kind of
heart failure
or heart failure or whatever, that would keep them alive. Anyway, May offers to take the epinephrine and fight the robots herself with the, like, amped up adrenaline, and Coulson does not think it's a good idea because she would just end up passed out afterwards. But May says that Coulson could just give her mouth to mouth. And this is fine because it's them. Coulson gets awkward again, so May again asks what happened with her robot decoy. And Coulson, like, refuses to tell her and makes her guess. So she guesses that she tried to kill him, and he's like, yeah, no, totally, that's what happened. May says that they could just add it to the list.
Which May, for as smart as she is, he got awkward after you said mouth to mouth, and your guess is that you tried to kill him?
Hello?
Not that you tried to kiss him.
Right. Yeah. She's so smart. She's never gonna assume that someone is in love with her. And I understand that. What I don't understand, though, is, like, I realize that, like, they're both a little bit weaker than usual, but, like, Coulson was still able to fight the other guy without the epinephrine. Why does May need it?
I think, so my understanding of it is that she's been in there for, like, a lot longer. So her body is weaker and she's a little bit more disoriented.
I guess.
Because she was already, like half stumbling and, like,
true,
panting to catch her breath and shit.
Anyway. So Simmons asks Piper why the Zephyr is so low on fuel and energy, why they never landed to recharge. So they turn on the press report of General Talbot, or someone that looks like him. It's him. Telling the media about the explosion at the SHIELD base and how certain agents' bodies haven't been found yet, like Director Mace. He goes on to say that Daisy might be involved and that they are terrorists and will be treated as such. And I was like, fuck! They're turning the real world into the framework world! It's happening again! Ada and Fitz are in an apartment, I guess similar to the one in the framework. I didn't notice that, but she said that it was a familiar space.
It looked almost exactly like, I assumed it was just her apartment, but I guess it was their apartment in the framework.
Guess. Yeah. I didn't realize it because, like, it was, like, filming it from a different angle than where it was before, and so I didn't...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then it had different furniture and different colors. Anyway. She says that she was trying to find a familiar space, but one that they could decorate together. It looked like it was already decorated, but okay. She tries again to understand how Fitz might be feeling, especially once he asks if she feels empathy. If she can understand how her actions might be perceived by others. She explains that she brought his dad back into his life to try and make him happy. That was what she was programmed to do for all of them, to make them happy. And then Fitz has a realization and asks who else she was trying to make happy besides him and the SHIELD team. And then he says, what did you promise to Ivanov? Or whatever, the Russian. And then we see more Ivanov LMDs finally open the door to where Coulson and May are waiting. I don't understand why Coulson didn't just use his shield again to cut their heads off, since clearly that worked the first time. But May took the epinephrine and unleashes herself on one of the LMDs. Coulson takes the other one without the epi boost and ends up electrocuting him. It's a good thing there were only two. May rips the other guy's head off, or like cuts his throat or something. And then she just like crumples to the floor. She's still conscious, but is lost all of her strength. And they wonder why the Russians would go through all of this trouble to like wait for them instead of just flooding the place and killing them. And then the real Ivanov, but not the real Ivanov. There's so many Ivanovs. Tells his friend to detach the submarine and shoot the torpedo. Fuck! Coulson is helping May walk as they try to find a way to get to the surface. And he starts to tell her that he already drank their special bottle of Haig. And as May is saying, "You piece of..." Then the wall breaks and water comes spraying. And May says that they need to go get Mac too, but Coulson can't carry both of them. So he says that they have to get her to the surface first, and then he'll come back to get Mac.
I'm not sure where to put this note because I didn't remember what part of the episode I was at. But I'm pretty sure it was this. And I said, "Oh no, worst time for an ad break. I'm having flashbacks of commercial breaks past. How do they get out of this?"
This is so intense. And at the same time, Ada is having a panic attack, realizing the peril that she put Coulson and May in. She's trying to like analyze the situation, but she's never had to work through emotions before while she's doing this. So Fitz tries to talk her through it, saying not to think, but to feel. She feels scared. She remembers that May was going to shoot her, and she's afraid to die. But Fitz reminds her that if she truly believes that everything she did before wasn't her choice, then she gets to make her own choice now. And she can empathize and understand that she put people in a life or death situation and they don't want to die either. And she is the only one who can save them right now. Oh my god, he's so good at this. Honestly, I want Fitz to like talk me out of my spiral. He's really good at it. Ada appears on the submarine. Sorry, I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm fucking struggling. Ada appears on the submarine and tries to convince Ivanov to abort his mission and leave the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents alone. He refuses, obviously. He's like, this was the whole point of everything. Why would I do that? She tries to beg him to, like, feel some empathy. Which is so funny, because she's like, I just learned about this, so why don't you learn about it? You who have been human for way longer. Why don't I teach you about this brand new concept that I have discovered?
She's human-splaining.
And he asks if she understands irony yet, which is pretty funny. She threatens to kill him instead, and he reminds her that all of these bodies of his are LMDs that she made, and that he has his real head hidden where she doesn't know. So she could try, but that won't do anything. And also, he already fucking sent the torpedo. He already is drowning them currently. So she blinks back to the apartment to get Fitz.
So when Anton Ivanov tells Ada that his life model decoy is designed only for killing, this is an allusion to Marvel villain MODOK, which stands for Mental Organism Designed Only for Killing.
Interesting.
So I guess they really were trying to make him MODOK.
Yeah.
And then Marvel was like, no. Actually, no.
No thanks. We want that. So Coulson and May make it to the surface platform of the rig, where Daisy and Yo-Yo meet them with the exit pod. The timing is fantastic here. Daisy helps May while Coulson and Yo-Yo go back to the elevator to get back. But an explosion takes out the elevator and the stairs and the structural integrity of the whole rig. So Coulson and Daisy try to get Yo-Yo to get back onto the pod, but she won't leave without Mac. Simmons is on the Zephyr, urging them to get off this rig before it's destroyed, and they all die. And behind her, Ada appears with Fitz and Mac in tow and unharmed. Fitz is so happy, praising Ada, like, you did it. When Simmons then knocks them both out with an icer and tells Yo-Yo that they have Mac.
This is the point I started to tear up. And I was like, oh my god, she doesn't know if he's still evil.
I know.
I mean, I guess she would have like an inkling of which way it's going because he saved Mac.
Yeah.
But
she doesn't know for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But good for her for, thinking quick.
Yeah.
Once everyone is safe, the remaining SHIELD team returns to the ruined HQ base to refuel and recharge. May and Coulson are horrified and ask who did this to the base. And Daisy and Simmons explain very simply, May did this to keep Coulson from coming after them. It's like just gut punch after gut punch.
I literally forgot about that plot line already. Like, so much has happened since then.
I know. That was, 4 episodes ago?
I know.
Oh, God. So they slowly get out and make their way through the rubble. Simmons places Fitz and Ada's containment pod into the, least damaged cell. And then Coulson, May, Simmons, Daisy, and Elena meet back up to regroup. May says that they weren't followed, but they shouldn't stay here long. And Elena suggests cutting off Ada's head. Which actually maybe is the best suggestion. But Coulson says she's a real person now, so she might be different. You never know. Elena asks if it matters, considering what happened to the framework. But May says, no more killing. We've had enough killing. Daisy asks the next question very carefully. What do they do about Fitz? Simmons asks May and Coulson what they remember about their framework lives. They say that they remember it as clearly as they do their real lives. Simmons asks if it's like waking up from a dream, and they say no. It's a whole life. Simmons starts to ask if it feels more or less real than this life, but she can't keep it together long enough to get the question out, and she has to leave the room. This was when I started crying.
Yeah.
Daisy says that Simmons is worried that Fitz is still the same person that he was in the framework, but Yo-Yo says no, she's worried that Fitz loves someone else. And oh my god, why can't they ever just get a fucking break?
I hate this.
So Simmons watches over the cameras as Fitz wakes up and starts talking with Ada. And by the way, I rewatched this scene this morning 4 times. It was so good. They deserved an Emmy for this scene alone, honestly. So Ada says that she does finally understand irony now that she knows the difference between a real beach and a simulated view of one, and she is being punished to only have the simulated one. But she says that it's a poetic punishment. She listens to Fitz talk through how disgusted he is with himself and what he did, because he wasn't a simulation or an LMD. He actually made those decisions himself. Ada tries to comfort him by saying that it was just learned behavior from an overbearing father. And then Fitz realizes that he finally understands Ward and that he's just like him. Which I hate. I hate it so much. And he's even more grossed out. He says that he doesn't know how Gemma will ever be able to forgive him or even be able to look at him after seeing him shoot Agnes. Ada sits with him and says that watching him and Simmons together was what made her want to become human the most. She wanted so badly to understand the love that they had for each other. He says that he doesn't have room in his heart for two women, and he has come to the conclusion that his future with Simmons is dead because she can never forgive him for what he's done. And I'm literally ripping my hair out at this scene. Simmons is heartbroken all over again, and Ada is looking sad but hopeful. But then he shocks both of them by saying that the one woman that he has room for is Gemma. Thank God. But oh fuck. The switch flips in Ada, and she screams, "No!" And then she continues at the top of her lungs that she clawed her way out of programming and made herself real all so that she can have a choice, to have freedom and love. And Fitz tries to backtrack and calm her down again and talk through this new emotion, but she is unhinged and unpredictable. Simmons tries to run for help to get Fitz out of the room, but now we have Talbot involved. And before we get to that, I just wanted to talk more about, what's the actress's name who plays Ada?
Mallory Jansen.
Mallory, this was a fucking masterclass. Between her and Ian, this was absolutely incredible. I mean, like Elizabeth was amazing too, but like the fucking switch between like comforting him and then it's like barely concealed rage when she just goes, "What?" Oh my God. I literally like just like the cock of her head and like you just see it just happen. Insane. That gave me chills just from that one word. And then Fitz like he tries to start kind of, he's like, "Wait, what happened? What happened?" And then you literally
because he thought that she was like being understanding and like,
he said, "Oh, yeah, you do understand me.
Of course, I know you're always gonna want her," but she thought like, "Of course, I know you want me." Yeah.
Oh my God. And then Ian, the like fucking micro expressions on his face are insane. I had to watch the scene over and over again because it was so good and I wanted to see her switch again. But then I was noticing he like fucking a different part of his face flinched at like every word. It was so crazy. Like that the scene was fantastic and terrifying. And then the way that first no that she screams, like I jumped out of my skin. That was so insane. Holy shit. So here's my nomination for an Emmy fucking however many years later. So Simmons tries to run for help to get Fitz out, and fucking Talbot is here because of course he is. And he goes, I love his entrance line. He's like, "You shut your robot mouth." I'm so obsessed with him. So back in the pod, Ada says, I chose you, and now you're gonna choose me. And Fitz tries to tell her that that's not how this works, but she says that they're gonna build a life together whether he wants to or not.
It's so... I don't know the word for it, but it's interesting to me that is kind of, at least that's how I thought that love worked when I was like a little kid.
Yeah.
You know, just figuring out the world and you don't know any better. Like, I choose you, now you choose me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I thought would happen with Joe Jonas. he would meet me and see how much I loved him, and he'd love me back because of it.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that is a really good, like, that's like the first stages of like learning about empathy and like the like ego and id and all that, to like go from experiencing the world from your own point of view to like figuring out that there is more involved than just what you want. Yeah, I think that it is interesting to see like a supposed grown woman doing this, because usually we see grown men doing this, so yeah.
I agree, but I said yeah, and then you said that. But I was gonna say, like, it's interesting. She's like a really powerful little kid. Yeah. Like, she's throwing a tantrum.
Exactly. And it's interesting because, like, as like a toddler throwing a tantrum is because this is the worst thing that they've ever experienced, and they don't know how to process that emotion. But she is like having the worst thing that she's ever experienced and doesn't know how to process this, and also is like unstoppable. Yeah. And can kill anyone at any time. Terrifying. Fucking terrifying. So she tries to grab Fitz and like blink away, but it doesn't work because of the power dampeners in the cell. So Fitz manages to get back into like the pod instead of the cell, and so there's one door locked between them. And then Piper and the other guy, they said his name at the end of the episode, Davis, pull Fitz out and lock the pod behind them. So now there's two doors, at least. And this is when Fitz informs them that teleportation is not Ada's only power, and this cell is not going to hold her. Fuck!
Shit.
And then we see Ada's other power, which this shot is like in the thumbnail of this episode, and I fully thought that this was Daisy. I don't know why. She doesn't have fucking lightning. But every time that I saw this like thumbnail, I was like, oh yeah, that's Daisy. So Ada starts harnessing lightning or electricity or what, I'm not sure what's going on actually. And I guess she just like breaks the dampeners or something. And then she disappears again. Which is kind of the same power, but then I guess she shows later that she has another one. So Talbot tells his men not to trust any of these agents, and that all of them are C-3POs until he says otherwise, especially Daisy. Coulson and Talbot banter a little bit, and Talbot says, "Could you explain to me in 50 words or less about, like, all the crushed and quaked and otherwise injured bodies that they found in the base? And also Jeffrey Mace's body washed up on a beach somewhere." And they said that he was quaked, but I don't think so. Right?
No, there was a line. there was a line from the Russian to Ada, I think, saying that, like, he took a hammer to Jeffrey Mace's body.
Oh, Jeff.
Which, I mean, the thing that bothers me about that is that it would be very easy to tell the difference between a body that was, like, bones that were quaked versus bones that were applied blunt force from the outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. That doesn't make any sense. That feels like they're just looking for any reason to blame Daisy. Honestly. Anyway, so he has his whole speech about, like, can you explain this to me? And Coulson says, I can try. I love the two of them so much. Honestly, sometimes I do feel bad for Glenn. Because, like, he's just trying to catch up. He's so freaked out all the time. These people just keep doing shit. And they don't tell him anything. And then he has to, like, figure out what's going on. And he doesn't know who's a robot and who's not. And Coulson is not helping. But anyway. So, while running from Ada, more of Talbot's men block the way, and then Ada appears behind one of them and shoots him with his own gun. So then Piper, Davis, and the other guy run the other way with Fitz in tow. And Fitz keeps telling them to leave him because they can't stop her, and she obviously wants him. Which... Would she kill Fitz, or would she just kidnap him? I don't know.
I don't know. That is a good question.
Because she said, we're going to build a life together whether you want to or not. So I feel like she would more likely kidnap him, but then she may be, like, so angry that she could do anything.
Yeah. I didn't give it much thought, like, during the episode.
Yeah.
But that's...
I just kept thinking about it because he kept telling them to leave him, to, like, save themselves, but, like, I don't know how far are you willing to sacrifice yourself, my guy? What's gonna happen?
Gemma needs you!
Yeah. Anyway, they pause in a hallway, and Fitz is like, what are you, fucking move? We have to keep moving. She, of course, does find them, and then the nameless agent gets got. And then Piper shoots Ada from, like, around the corner, and then Davis is right behind her, shooting continuously as Piper pulls Fitz into the containment pod, and then lifts it back up onto the Zephyr, where Coulson has just finished explaining what's been happening. And then Talbot, obviously, does not believe him. Fitz immediately screams for May to get them in the air as soon as possible. He says that May is the only one who knows about the inhuman testing at Hydra, and therefore knows how dangerous and unstoppable Ada is. May suddenly remembers and then runs to the cockpit. Finally, some fucking pep in their step. Let's go. Talbot starts to raise his gun, but Daisy lifts her own hand at him and says, try it. She's such a badass. I love her so much. Davis walks away from what he assumes is Ava. Oh my god. Okay.
Ava.
Who the fuck? That's our new character. Davis walks away from what he assumes is Ada's dead body, riddled with bullet holes. But they're all glowing and healing as she leaps from the gallows and levitates down the hallway after him. And then I guess I remembered his name just in time to never need it again. But I guess I'm gonna need it again.
I don't remember when.
Okay, well, I won't remember then.
I'm sure you won't. Sorry, I feel like people are gonna, like, come for my neck for spoiling something.
Whatever. They come for your neck, they gotta go through me.
This is my podcast. Our podcast. Sorry.
It's good, yeah.
That was rude of me.
It is equally mine and yours.
Yes.
So you can say my, and I can say my. Anyway, well, this is so stupid. May gets the Zephyr ready to take off, and Coulson and Daisy tell Talbot that they can either stay here or they can come with them, but the plane is leaving, so make a decision. So Talbot and his men hop off and then search the base for any other bodies. I
thought for sure they would be dead.
Yeah, I thought Ada was just gonna fucking blow the whole place up. As they take off, Piper leaves the containment pod staring at Fitz. And then Coulson walks past the door staring at him. And then Daisy walks past the door staring at him. And it's such a, like, tense moment, but that was so funny. Just this line of people, like, hello? And he's just sitting there, like, head in his hands and, like, not looking at anybody. Simmons finally comes to the door and slowly joins him while he looks anywhere but at her. And then he breaks down the second that her hand touches his shoulder, and he still won't look at her, but he reaches for her hand, and they just cry together. My poor sweet babies.
I know.
Why can't they ever just get a break? Just let them be together, Jesus Christ! Ugh! Ada is back with Ivanov, and she is distraught. He tells her that this is her first taste of heartbreak, and that only time will heal this wound. And also vodka, apparently. She says, to be human is to suffer. Which, like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Ivanov tells her that she can join him in his plan. He wants to use the book to bring the framework to life so that they can hunt Inhumans in real life. Is that not what he was doing anyway? Do we need the framework to do that?
He wants it to be approved.
He could just go in the framework and do that. We could just get you a video game, my guy. Ada says she's in, but she wants to make a few tweaks. She says that his plan is too clean, and she wants everyone to suffer. Like, they haven't been suffering this whole goddamn time. Oh, the one-day-old woman thinks that she's the first to feel pain. And then they edge us a little bit. Because Ada tells Ivanov to make her feel something else, and so they start making out, but then she just, like, bashes his head into the ground.
And I was gonna say, I've been there, but damn. Not there.
Switch. And then another Ivanov asks if that made her feel any better. So I guess she just has an endless supply of Ivanovs to either fuck or make out with or kill. So good for her, I guess. She could just, like, do that and then feel better. Like, that's cathartic.
Fuck, marry, kill, Ivanov, or Ivanov.
I know we haven't posted on the TikTok in a while, but we should post that. What would you choose?
I would fuck Ivanov, marry Ivanov, and I guess kill Ivanov. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the right choice.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. So Coulson and Daisy realize that they haven't seen Yo-Yo since they landed at HQ. And she's gone into the framework alone to get Mac. Fuck. Did they even tell her, like, where the back door is? How are they gonna get through it? It's molten metal. Like, what's happening?
Yo-Yo.
So Talbot and his men finish their sweep of HQ and then report that they lost 3 soldiers today, but they don't really know what killed them. A gun fucking breaking his neck, and then whatever happened to the third one. I don't know. Like, what do they mean? Anyway. Talbot says that they can go ahead and clear out. And then just after they walk away, the fucking Darkhold portal that I forgot about turns on out of nowhere, and then the Ghost Rider is back, baby! I miss Robbie.
I genuinely don't know how I missed that part of the episode. Don't remember it at all.
It was so fast.
Yay!
It was literally like 10 seconds, dude.
I must have been looking down or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm writing a note, maybe?
Maybe. It was crazy. Anyway. So now it's time for the post-content content! Yo-Yo wakes up in the framework, and she is strapped to a chair in the dark. There's a fire blazing nearby, and chaos, like people just like panicking around her. And she screams. And like, girl, they tried so hard to warn you, and you don't know when you're gonna wake up. And Inhumans are in way more danger than anyone else. How? Oh my god. This was the stupidest plan in the world. And I don't know how they're going to get her out of this.
I have so much to say, but I'll wait until the next episode.
No!
I have to!
Okay, I guess. I'm so mad at Elena. What the hell? Like, I know she didn't want to leave Mac behind, but they have him. She could wait till they're at a safe spot at least. Shit.
Yeah.
Stupid. Anyway. This thing was jam-packed. This was a crazy episode.
It was. I was very excited to record this episode. Again, not very many fun facts to work with. But
they're like, it speaks for itself.
Yeah. For the next episode, since we're doing the finale, I will look on the season 4 Wikipedia page and see if there's any overall fun facts.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, that concludes our episode on season 4, episode 21, The Return.
Woohoo!
Next time, we'll be covering season 4, episode 22, the finale, World's End. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye, love you.